Welcome to a Faithful God podcast. I'm your host, Tammy Rotzel, and today on the show, we're going to talk about why do we even need to ask if God already knows? So grab those earbuds and your favorite beverage and join me for today's show. Well, hey friend, welcome back. Happy Friday. You made it to the end of the week. That's a big celebration. Can we just celebrate that? Oh, I'm so honored to be back here serving you again this week, and it means the world to me that you choose to show up each and every week. So listen, today we're going to talk about that question. Why do we need to ask if God already knows, right? I hear this from women all the time, and I've heard women even say, or I've had some students even say to me, Tammy, I feel they say, I'm getting so bored of asking for the same thing over and over and over again. Why do I need to ask when God knows, right? God knows all. So why do we even need to ask? And a lot of times women are just like, Tammy, I'm so tired of praying for the same thing over and over and over again. I know, my friend, and I see you. And today we're going to address all of that. So in today's show, as I just mentioned, we're going to uncover why do we need to ask when God already knows, as well as the importance of asking again and again, why that's so important and why we need to do that. Now, this is something, another topic that I teach inside Confident Prayer Warrior. One of the common prayer hurdles, or one of the modules inside Confident Prayer Warrior is talking all about some of the common prayer hurdles. And this is one of the prayer hurdles that a lot of women struggle with. And so this is something, like I said, that I teach inside the program here. So before we can uncover why we need to ask and why it's so important to ask again and again, we really need to know what prayer really is. Now, if you've been with me for any length of time, if you show up every single week, then you know we've been talking about this lately. But in case you're new to the show, let me just kind of reiterate what prayer really is. It's not about showing up with a long list of asks. Yes, we are to go to God with our prayers and requests. Yes, we are, the Bible teaches us that. But really, prayer is more about creating and forging a deep and meaningful relationship with God. It's about building that deep connection with Him. And it's about, and when it comes to asking multiple times, it's not about the ask itself, but it's about, it's not about reminding Him. Forgive me. It's not about reminding Him. It's about staying connected with Him. So this is what we have to remember. So why on earth do we even need to ask when God already knows? First and foremost, it demonstrates our dependence on God. In Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 6, it teaches us this: trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. So by going to God and making that ask, even when He already knows, it shows that we are dependent on Him, that we know that we rely on Him. It also shows that we're asking that we are relying on His guidance and His wisdom and His clarity to help us through whatever it is that we're going through. So this demonstrates our willingness to seek His guidance and wisdom. It also shows us that we're admitting, you know what, God, I think I know what I'm supposed to do, but I know you know best, right? I know that you know best for us. It's like saying, God, I need your wisdom here. The thing is it's not about our weaknesses or about, or coming off weak. It's not about, saying, oh my gosh, I don't know. Just it's all about, excuse me, clearly I'm having a hard time saying this, but it's all about our dependence on Him. And it demonstrates when we go to Him and we ask, even when He already knows, it shows that we're depending on Him. We're recognizing that His wisdom, just like in Proverbs, is far greater than our own. The next thing, going to Him and making that ask, even when He already knows, is that it builds and strengthens our relationship with Him. In Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 through 7, it says this: Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Jesus Christ. By continually going to God, making that ask, by going to Him and asking when He already knows, we're developing a relationship with Him. When we go to God and make that ask, even when He already knows, it acknowledges His sovereignty in our lives. In Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8 and 9, here's what it says. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. In other words, we're acknowledging that His ways are far better than ours, that He knows, right? He can see the big picture, whereas from where we're standing, all we see is this little itty bitty piece of the pie, right? And this acknowledges His understanding, His wisdom, His guidance. This acknowledges His sovereignty in our lives when we ask, even when He already knows. This next one, it cultivates humility. Humility. Isn't it hard? It is so hard. Humbling ourselves is so incredibly hard. But in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6 through 7, it says this, therefore, humble yourselves, demote, lower yourselves in your own estimation under the mighty hand of God, that in due time He may exalt you, casting the whole of your cares, all your anxieties, all your worries, all your concerns, once and for all on Him, for He cares for you affectionately and cares about you watchfully. Seeking God's guidance with humility allows you to submit to His authority. This is not easy, my friends. Surrendering your desires for His, it's not easy. But when we go to God and we ask, even when He already knows, it demonstrates humility, and it builds builds that humility muscle, right? It teaches us to be humble, making it easier and easier to humble ourselves, in the future, like as we continue to go through trials and challenges or continue to just live our lives. So friend, what I want you to do is remember that this isn't about the ask itself. This is about all those things that I just mentioned, acknowledging His sovereignty, fostering humility, trusting in His guidance, building a relationship with Him. That's what this ask is about. It's not about the ask itself. It's about really connecting more closely with God. Okay, so that begs the question, why do we have to ask again and again and again? Sometimes we get so tired of asking. Sometimes we're asking for that same thing over and over and over again, and it feels like God is nowhere to be found, like He isn't even listening, right? So why is it so important that we ask again and again? Number one, it goes back to building that relationship with Him. When we keep going back to Him, when we keep seeking Him, when we keep asking, when we keep knocking, we're building that relationship with Him. In fact, in Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 through 8, it says this, keep on asking and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking and you will find. Keep on knocking and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives. Everyone who seeks finds. And to everyone who knocks, the door will be open. This doesn't say ask one time, knock one time, seek one time. This says keep on asking, keep on seeking, keep on knocking. This is going to help us develop and forge a relationship with Him. Friend, here's the thing. God doesn't get frustrated by hearing the same prayer over and over again, the same requests over and over again. That doesn't frustrate Him. No, He wants you to come to Him. He wants to build that relationship with you. And by asking over and over again, by asking that same prayer, and by the way, you don't have to ask every single day. You can, but you don't have to ask every single day. Pray it weekly. Pray it every other day. Again, this goes back to a couple of episodes ago, right? Prayer doesn't have to look the same every day. And so we can change it up a little bit. It's not going to make our prayers less effective. It's not going to make that ask less effective. It doesn't have to be every single day. Give yourself some break. Let yourself off the hook with that. So why else do we have to continue to ask again and again? Because God is using this time to prepare you what you're asking for. So often we think we're ready. We think we're prepared. But you see, what God has planned for us is so much bigger than we could ever imagine for ourselves. And so in this time that we continually seek, knock, and ask, God uses that time to prepare us for what we're praying for. Why else do we need to keep on asking, keep on knocking? Because God also uses that time to align our thoughts with His will. You see, sometimes what we're praying for isn't quite what He wants for us. And so He's going to use this time that you keep seeking, you keep knocking, you keep asking, and He's going to use it to align your thoughts with His will. Sometimes we just need to make a little shift in the way that we pray. We need to make a little shift in the way that we see something. We need to make a little shift so that we're seeing His perspective in it and seeing His will. Our will is not always, our ideas, our plans, our thoughts are not always in alignment with Him. And so as we continue to seek, knock, and ask, God will use that time to align our thoughts with His. In James chapter 4, verses 15 through 16, it says this: "It would be best to say, if it is the Lord's will and we live long enough, we hope to do this project or pursue that dream. But your current speech indicates an arrogance that does not acknowledge the one who controls the universe. And this kind of big talking is the epitome of evil." In other words, my friend, again, we want God's way, not our way in our lives. That's one of the most difficult prayers to pray, but it's a very effective prayer. Yet not my will, but yours be done, Lord, right? Just as in the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus was getting ready he was hours away from being beaten, tortured, had to walk through the streets to hang on the cross, right? To be crucified. He knew what was coming, and he comes to the Garden of Gethsemane, and he's so stressed out. He's so weary. He's so afraid. He's literally sweating blood. Like, that is an actual condition. That's how stressed out he was. That's an actual medical condition. And what happened was Jesus goes and he prays and he says, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup of suffering from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." That whole surrender, that whole willing to yield our desires for His, right? Yet not my will. When you learn to pray, "Lord, this is what I want. Please this, please that," right? "Yet not my will, but yours be done." You want to grow spiritually? You start praying that prayer, my friend. That is a big one. So God is going to use that time that you keep asking, you keep seeking, you keep knocking. He's going to use that time to align your thoughts, with His will, with His plan for your life. One of my absolute favorite Bible verses it's actually right across I made my own canvas back when I was doing all the DIY stuff, made my own canvas, and it's sitting up right across from my desk on the wall. And it's Proverbs 16:3. And it's, "Put God in charge of your work. Then what you've planned will take place." As we're seeking, knocking, asking, as we continue to do that, we are persistent and consistent in our pursuit to seek, ask, and knock. When we put God in charge and we say, "Not my will, but yours be done, Lord," He's going to align our thoughts so that they are, He's going to align our thoughts with His will for us. That's when we start to experience growth and transformation. That's why we keep seeking, we keep asking, we keep knocking. Even when we've done it 135 times we do it again. That's why. You see, when we're in those seasons of waiting, right? Oh my goodness. I don't know about you, but I'm not a patient person, right? And especially in this world now, everything we get so fast, right? We get it right now instantaneously. But as we are doing this, as we learn to be patient and to trust in God's timing, and when we allow him to align our thoughts with his, oh my goodness, my friend, man, things start opening up, things start changing in our lives, things start moving in our lives, and it is incredible. It's incredible. That's when you go through some pretty great spiritual growth. Pretty, I guess, significant. That's when you go through a lot of spiritual growth. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't know. So as we keep knocking, as we keep seeking, as we keep asking, it's like saying to God, God, I've got these plans. What do you think? So friend, yes, you want to ask, even though God already knows. Yes, you want to keep asking, even though you've asked 275 times, ask again. Ask God to align your thoughts, your desires with his. That's when things start moving. You're going to stay stuck here. The longer you hold on to it, and are not willing, the longer you go without surrendering your desires, your will for God's will, the longer you're going to sit in it. So we have to keep asking, but we ask and we say to God, Lord, align my thoughts with your will. If this isn't, these are my plans, right? These are my plans. What do you think? That's when things start moving and changing. That's when they start moving and changing, my friend. Remember, this is about acknowledging his sovereignty. It's about fostering a humble heart. It's about building a relationship with him and allowing him to lead us to where he wants us to go. It's powerful, my friend. And when you start shifting, making that shift in the way you think about making these requests, asking and asking again and again and again, when you start to shift the way you see that, man, that's when things move. I know I keep saying that. I know I keep saying that, but it is so powerful. In fact, I guarantee you, when you start making this change in the way you look at it, and when you start praying that prayer, not my will, but yours be done, Lord, or Lord, this is what I'm planning. What do you think? When you start doing that, I am telling you, my friends, I cannot wait for you to send me a DM or leave me a message on YouTube and say, Tammy, you are not going to believe this. I started praying like this, and this is what God did. This is how God showed up. Because it's incredible, my friend, and I cannot wait to cheer you on. In the meantime, my friend, go out this week, shift the way, look at the way you see prayer just a little bit differently. Just a little bit differently. Start showing up a little bit differently in your prayers. And I'm cheering you on. You are not alone, my friend. You are not alone at all. So friend, I hope this blessed you today. I really, really do. Listen, if this blessed you, would you do me a favor? Would you mind sharing it with a friend? My mission is to get this out to as many women as possible, to help as many women as possible learn to show up more confidently in their prayer life, in their faith walk, and learn to let go of those unrealistic expectations, embrace their vulnerabilities, and just show up perfectly imperfect, because that's when we really experience the life God has for us. And so that is my mission. So if you would do me a favor and share it with a friend, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Then friend, listen, I will meet you back here next week for another episode of a Faithful God podcast.